Let the Right One In and Let Me In.
The old back-to-back.
The old back-to-back of child vampire movies. Now, I mean, they're pretty much the same movie. I mean,
They are.
Story-wise, plot-wise. So why don't you just go ahead and tell everyone what these movies were about.
Kid, loner, on his own, bullied, no friends kind of thing, befriends a little girl vampire. It's like a kid romance, horror-ish movies.
Kid romance with and when you say kid, you're like 10 or 11 or 12 or something.
I think
like
they say
that.
they're 12. I think
Yeah.
they're 12.
So like kid romance with a vampire.
Yeah.
And some freaky shit.
Or kid pyre.
Kid pyre.
Kid pyre.
That sounds like a giant stack of kids being burned. I think we're gonna start with the Swedish original, which is Let the Right One In.
Let the Right One In was fantastic. It's a beautifully shot, like the pacing is pristine. It's like, it's slow. It allows you time to breathe and like watch these people and experience this crazy scenario that they're in, but you never get bored.
Right.
I was never bored once. I was never like, oh, I wish there was more action or horror or whatever it was.
Because the atmosphere is interesting.
It's really atmospheric, and like you really feel like you're in remote area in Sweden. It feels kind of isolated and cut off from like the city, and you feel it, and everything feels right. Love the acting, the pacing, color palette, the way it was shot. Like the Swede cinematography is just, right on. As a friend of ours said, they
grow their cinematographers in vats.
Yeah, they have a vat where they grow brilliant cinematographers.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
And I mean, so what other Swedish films have you seen?
I've seen a few that I can't remember. I'm not good with names and stuff like that, but
Girl with Dragon Tattoo?
Girl with Dragon Tattoo.
That's probably the only
original,
one I've seen.
So like that's like another modern. That's probably a good comparison because it's another modern Swedish film that's not of the same genre, but like of close enough. And then, but it doesn't look the same. They have like a totally different feel to them.
I saw it and I liked it, but it's what I didn't get from it. I did not get that it tried to do anything risky or brilliant with like the cinematography and
that's why Fincher's version is.
Which is I still have yet to see it, but
that's
he's
your problem.
Always he's reliable on having just amazing photography and just pretty much amazing everything. This guy knows how to make a movie.
He knows how to make a movie, yeah,
totally. So
both these guys know how to make movies. I mean, Thomas Alfredson and Matt Reeves make two really cool movies.
Yeah,
they are really similar in. I don't know. Let's just say like 80% of the movie is the same. The dialogue's the same. The some of the shots are similar. The sequencing is similar. Some of the players kind of play it similar, but they're two totally different movies in terms of like the tone.
Right. What is your opinion on CGI cats?
CGI cats. The one thing I could really do without in the Swedish original is poorly done CGI cats attacking this poor woman, this poor
You said that so well too. You're like, the one thing I could have really done without. It's one thing that sucked fucking ass.
Yeah. So like, if you're gonna have the CGI cats.
If you're just don't do it.
Yeah, but they were like, okay, they're getting ready to pounce, and you're like, okay, it looks kind of fake, and then they did like the close up, and there's like 4 of them. It looked terrible. Like, what? Just show me that they're about to pounce, pull the camera back, and do your bad CGI later. Like, like keep them at a distance. They got way too close, and they didn't feel like they were a part of the 2D image. They felt like they were.
It's cartoons. Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
They Who Framed Roger Rabbit the shit out of those cats. I mean, just skip it.
Right. I mean, really just don't do that scene. Because why is that scene in the movie? What does it do? What is the point?
I mean, it adds a bit of excitement.
How much of that movie is about cats besides that scene? I'll give you the answer. It's 0%. I feel like it's actually representative of things that they do a lot in foreign horror filmmaking. Which is that they'll have this atmospheric movie that is all about sort of the mood. Sometimes isn't even scary, but it's just creepy, and you're enjoying it. You're in the mood. You're loving the music and everything. And then what you get hit with is a random scene out of nowhere. It's like in Suspiria, where the pianist, where he goes and he's attacked by a dog, and you're just like, all right, I guess that makes sense within the context of this movie. It's just abject horror, just comes out of nowhere.
I mean, if you're communicating a thought, an idea, whatever, if you're trying to achieve something and you do it, maybe it's a little over the top, maybe it's not, but they did, like the cats serve a purpose. This chick's a vampire. She's gonna go to the hospital next. How do they get her to the hospital? Well, the cats fuck her up. But like, it's a relatively slow-paced movie, and she's like not really a big player. And then all of a sudden, there's like this huge scene with like 8 cats attacking this woman. It does serve a purpose in the movie, so maybe it's not so disjointed. It shows that the power of the little girl, that she can actually turn people into vampires. It shows that she is like the classic vampire.
Right, you know? which I understand, and that's great, but man. I saw Let the Right One In. It was, to me, damn near perfect. It's like basically what a perfect horror movie could be. And then I saw Let Me In, and it was just kind of like, okay, whatever my previous idea of it, I had to sort of bump it down just so I could fit Let Me In above it. Now that's how much I look, and I usually am the opposite. Usually I don't like remakes. I usually hate when they do that.
And as 2 individual movies, I like them both a lot. Mm-hmm. But watching them back to back, I have to say that Let the Right One In filled all the needs I needed for like a good film, not really a good horror movie, but like a good movie, like good acting, good everything, you know, I mean, good story, good flow, beautiful photography, okay, great. And then I get to Let Me In, and I'm going, well, it was a little more aggressive, it was a little faster.
Let Me In just delivers right from the beginning. Just it sets you up. This is a horror movie. We want you to be scared.
Yeah.
We want you to be disturbed. It comes right out from the very beginning, from the opening scene, which is one of the significant differences between the 2 movies. Yeah. Is that it comes
starts out with a guy with a melted face falling off a fucking building. Yeah,
it's not much of a spoiler. It happens within.
Yeah, it's in the first 3 minutes. Like, fine. But
yeah, that scene is something that happens later on in the movie, in both movies.
Right.
But they do it as sort of like a teaser flashback.
So now let's take that and let's break it down. American version. You're excited right away.
Yeah.
You see something, a little bit of gore, a little bit of, what happened? Somebody flies out a window. Okay, great. You're caught from the beginning like that. The Swedish version, you have more time. The way I see it is you have more time to get used to that character, feel for that character, build him up, then you kill him. And then you're supposed to feel bad. As opposed to the American version where you kind of see it, and then by the time you get back there again, you're like, all right, I know you're going to die, so you die. Maybe that was just me having seen it one way and liking it the other way. I'm not sure.
See, I love starting out a movie with a teaser, with a little intro. I like that. And I like that it shows you that. It doesn't really get you... Yeah, it does not get you to care about the character. There's not enough time. It's like 3 minutes and then he's dead.
Yeah. I mean, the first thing
But I thought that's cool because what I'm doing is I'm watching it and I'm just going, whoa! And I've seen the original and I know what that scene is, but it's immediately my reaction is...
Understood.
What the fuck is going on? Like, and I already know what's going on, but I'm just like, yo, they put that there instead of later. That's awesome. And you have the opposite reaction. You're like, that sucks.
Yeah.
But for me, I feel like as an audience who hadn't seen it would have a similar reaction. They would also go, oh shit, what the fuck is going on in this movie? This movie hasn't even started yet, and there's people jumping off of buildings and shit. I mean, there's a badass balls out way to fucking start a movie.
I mean, there's a million things that contribute to that decision too. Is like, well, the different markets. It's the foreign market.
So it's American. That's 100% of what it is.
There's also, you have to take into account the style of everything else that happens after that. The first one starts big and wide and breathy, and then works its way into be really tight and intimate and small. And then it gets, they choose their moments.
Right.
When to put the viewer back and then when to pull you in. And in the American version, it's shot a little tighter, more close-ups, it's a little more standard, coverage. And then they kind of keep you closer to the story for the most part, and there's less atmospheric, you know, like wide shots where like a lot of the scene plays.
Right. I mean, there's definitely less
So
that is.
if you start tight like
right,
that and aggressive,
giant and
it
beautiful.
keeps you. Yeah.
Right. It's not as breathtaking. I would not describe it.
Right.
I feel like a lot of Let the Right One In could be described as it. Definitely.
Right.
Let Me In was more. I feel like I felt that's what it is. I felt closer to the movie.
Yeah, you felt like they start you tighter, you stay tighter, you end tighter.
It felt a little bit claustrophobic, and like in a good way. I feel like that added to the horror for me. I like the shotgun, heavy footsteps appeal of the.
Yeah, that's kind of your
style.
style.
It's my style. What I love about them is that one of the few horror movies that actually scares me. Like Let the Right One In doesn't scare me. Let Me In actually is scary. It kind of fucks me up every time I watch it. I at the end. With the score, like Giacchino, by the way, famous for being sort of like a one-note kind of guy. You know, he did the score for Lost, and he did a score for Cloverfield, in which it's just a 9-minute score called Roar. And he did, so he does, I mean, that's a kind of, he also scored like Ratatouille or some shit. It's like, he exercises some restraint in the Let Me In score. It's actually one of my favorite horror movie scores. And I feel like it actually adds to the impact. I do not remember anything about the Swedish score that stands in my mind.
No, because it was super subtle and restrained.
Let Me In, it was the score was so in your face. It was actually, Giacchino was a good choice for that. It matched the cinematography.
Yeah, it was a big part of the movie. Yeah, no, as a standalone film, Let Me In is really good.
Oh, yeah.
Let the Right One In is better in my opinion. As a horror movie, Let Me In is better because Let the Right One isn't really a horror movie.
Right. Well, Let Me In is what you're saying is that it's more effective as a horror movie.
They branded it as a horror movie. They have computer effecty stuff for the eyes where her eyes like get all crazy vampire-y and
but
her
no cats.
skin.
They left out the cats.
Stupid cats. Well, that's a smart thing.
It was a very smart thing. It was one of the other differences.
Like in her skin changes. She gets all they modulate her voice. They do. That doesn't happen in the Swedish version. This girl is just a regular girl who has some fangs, I guess, that come out that you never see, and she drinks blood and she jumps really fast, jumps really high, runs really fast, and all that shit. And they keep her more human. And not saying that the girl did a worse job or anything in the American version.
Fantastic.
Yeah, she's great. It's just
and now she's Carrie.
Yeah, now she's going to be Carrie. Yeah. Everybody puts on a good performance, in my opinion. I think that they're all played differently and similar at the same time. I mean, one note is Richard Jenkins, who plays like the weird older love interest guy.
Well, I mean, it's first established, and again, spoiler here, everybody. You're gonna, sorry, deal with it.
Deal with it. Fucking.
What Richard Jenkins plays, the character who's like the father figure, the guy. He's like her caretaker.
He's a caretaker, yeah.
And you're supposed to be under the idea that maybe it's like father-daughter kind of thing, or maybe he's just he's looking after her.
The character, I don't know his name, who portrays like the caretaker, he doesn't really let you into what he's going through. And Richard Jenkins he just lays it out there like,
totally.
I'm too old for this.
He opens up the doors for empathy, and it really just he's a fantastic performer.
I've seen Richard Jenkins perform on stage. I've seen him in many movies and television, and he's just he's the top. Like he's
really
great.
Is.
He puts on a beautiful performance.
And he plays different roles, and he never plays the same kind of role. Like this role is so much more pathetic. Than anything I've seen him in. Really,
it's pathetic. But if you've ever
pathetic and understandable, like completely, like you empathize with him, and it's pathetic, but in a really
he can't get away. Like there's nothing you could do. Yeah,
and from the very beginning, like there is no happy ending for this character.
Yeah,
and that's the other thing that they included. Photos of him now again, what I really liked, in the original that they hinted that this may have been a really long
if you weren't paying attention, you would have never.
How long has it been doing this? Centuries, I mean, it could go on forever, and
I'm really glad they didn't give a number for that because that would have pissed me off so much.
No, I love that.
I've been 12 for 200 years. Oh, please don't tell me that. I don't want
I hate this Twilight shit.
Yeah.
Okay, now I see why you need the thunder.
Let Me In, good American horror movie. Let the Right One In, good foreign horror movie. I feel like good foreign film. Really.
It's not.
That's really the best way to describe it.
It barely holds on to the horror movie.
A good foreign drama thriller. And then this is a good, it says on the box here, the best American horror film in the last 20 years. So that he's saying, since 1990. And I'm racking my brain here. I
he's
think of a better horror movie made in America like after 1990.
Yeah, I got to think about that. I'm
Like
sure
we're
missing.
may have been right on the money.
I mean, we're probably missing one.
Probably missing some that are really good, but I mean, as if they're better.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, again, thinking of this as a standalone movie, not considering the original, and considering what the American version had an objective, which was to frighten, and it worked. Which makes it more of a horror.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Swedish version has an objective, and it's just not to frighten. It's
it's a different objective.
It's just a totally different approach to, you know, to the story. I mean, it's...
Yeah. Are we ready to go ahead and put this back on the shelf and go get ourselves a drink on your ship, Captain?
Aye. No, wait, you say aye.
No, I would say yes. Let's go.
Let's go. Good, great.
Yeah.